Potato Day is the beginning of Garden Organics year. It may sound a bit quirky and odd, weird even, but it does have a serious purpose, and it is good fun too, because it is a bit like a potato jumble sale. There are over 100 varieties that we put on sale every year so that people have a lot to choose from, and that's the point. There is a lot to choose from. If you narrow down the amount of varieties available, it makes what's left very susceptible to pest and disease. So it's very important to have a lot of stuff grown out, quite apart from the fact that this is our heritage in here. This room is full of history. This is a really important event for Garden Organic. It's what starts our year, then we go on to Get Set Grow, and then we have the summer events and so on. But this is where the year begins. So this is where you get your seed potatoes to kick the year off.
Over the weekend, there was a series of talks followed by question and answer sessions. These covered such topics as Good Soil for Good Potatoes by Dr. Francis Rains of Garden Organics Research Department. Alan Wilson talked on the challenges and opportunities of potato growing. Potato blight was the subject of an informative talk by Dr. David Shaw of the Sarvari Trust. Chef Christopher Trotter and potato authority Alan Romans shared their passion for the potato with the audience. Alan's knowledge of varieties and their history served as a wonderful accompaniment to the culinary skills of Christopher. We asked Christopher to compare the versatility of the potato to pasta and rice.
I'm sure if I came from the Middle East or China, then I would be able to sort of discuss all the different varieties of rice. And I'm sure if I came from Italy, I'd be able to discuss all the different sort of varieties of pasta and all the amazing things you can do with them. But I don't, and therefore I can't. But so it seems to me, standing from my Western point of view, that potatoes have infinite variety, because not only are there all sorts of different ways of cooking a potato, but of course there's different species within that. I mean, there must be sort of 400 or 500 different varieties, improving and changing all the time. But it's getting to know what to do with a specific potato, and I think that's what's so exciting. Way over and above what you can get from rice and pasta. One variety can still be slightly different from the way it's where it's grown. So you have all these incredible local differences as well as varietal differences in the way they're cooked. And I think that's essential. Really, that's what we're trying to sort of get across to people, is to try and consider the variety of potato before they consider what they're going to do with it. So if you're going to grow your own potatoes, buy a variety of potatoes to cover all the different areas, whether it's for baking or frying or dry matter, which makes a fantastic mashed potato, or crisps, or roasting, and then of course all the colourful ones. I mean, we get red rice perhaps, and brown rice, and rice for making puddings with, but that's about it. Whereas potatoes, it's just absolutely endless. So I think there's just no decision to be made that if I was to be left with one of the three staples, potatoes is it, because you will never, ever, ever run out of ideas or things to do with them, and life would be so dull without them.
It seems to me that we take a tremendous amount of trouble over meat and fish and wine and so on, and yet here we have a cuisine based on fundamentally the potato. There are hundreds of different varieties, different dry matters, different cooking characteristics, different flavours. Those characteristics change with latitude, and a very floury potato up in the north is very palatable, very floury potato in the south isn't. A very waxy potato in the south is delicious, in the north it's wet and soapy. So what Christopher and I are trying to do, with a few interesting side journeys down odd highways and byways within cuisine, is we're trying to match more exactly the perfect potato for a particular dish, whether it's based on boiling or frying, poaching, whatever.
After buying her seed potatoes, TV presenter and food writer Alys Fowler joined Alan Romans to discover the 8 varieties he would take with him to a desert island. Our Heritage Seed Library ran a seed swap stall and gave tours of the behind-the-scenes workings at the Heritage Seed Library. Potato Day was open to Garden Organic members on the Saturday and then to the general public on Sunday. The admission fee gives access to our gardens as well as the talks and tours run through the day, and of course to the potato marquee. As well as offering a huge range of seed potatoes, the stalls are manned by our knowledgeable staff and volunteers. As another successful potato day came to an end, we asked John Sargant to share some of his knowledge gained from his many years of organic gardening, asking what varieties he grew.
I mostly grow kestrel, got the second or a second early potato, because we do get the blight now and again, and if the blight strikes, you can cut the tops off, and you've got a reasonable crop underneath. You see, and I also grow the new blight-resistant variety, which is the Sharpo, and Sharpo is completely blight-resistant, and even with the dry weather, it gives you quite a good crop. I do grow Desiree sometimes, and sometimes Romano, but the trouble is, if they do catch the blight, well then I've got to take the tops off, and I haven't got a very good crop underneath, you see. Whereas using any second early, I'm sure of a crop underneath, if the blight strikes, you see.
Garden Organic runs its Potato Day over the last weekend in January, as well as a variety of other events throughout the year. For more information, please visit our website.